grunting, chasing, rubbing, scraping, everything that you want to see in a whitetail rut, you get to see here. It's 30,000 acres of the most magnificent, well-managed whitetail property that I have personally ever had the privilege of stepping on. I mean, truly, there is no stone unturned. Brush country, Mission Whitetail, end of the year, we always look forward to this. You know, Texas and Mexico is completely different than what a lot of us are used to hunting. You know, the most rewarding hunting for me, and it is for me, it's a personal preference of what you like to do. The most rewarding for me is, you know, hunting here in these river swamps, these high-pressure deer in South Carolina, or traveling out to the Midwest and chasing a big deer out there. It may be 1, 2, 3 seasons that you chase one buck and you finally get it done. And to me, that's the most rewarding hunting that I can do, and it's the one that I'm able to sharpen my skills and polish the craft and learn a lot. Mexico, Texas, that brush country is completely different. You know, we go down there in December and January because it really is like Disney World. You just have to get past the corn piles, the spreading of the corn, the feeders, the long senderos. That's just part of it. That's the culture down there. And let me tell you, if you haven't done it, it's a lot of fun. And guys that have done it, you know what a great time it is. I mean, you see so many deer. The weather is awesome. The rutting action is super aggressive because the buck-doe ratio is so close. The management practices, the size of the deer. I mean, in Mexico, you're hunting, or we're hunting a 30,000 acre ranch, and you look out across, it's just flat, just short brush, 4 or 5 feet tall, and you don't think a rabbit could live out there. And all of a sudden, deer just come out of the woodwork, and you see massive amounts of deer, big bucks, again, lots of rutting action. And it's just an incredible time and something that we really look forward to every single year. Basically, guys that are familiar with Texas, there's a golden triangle in Texas. It's kind of that McAllen, Eagle Pass, Laredo whole section where the King Ranch and all that is. But then just over the border from Laredo, it continues, that golden triangle. And that's right where this ranch is. It's 30,000 acres. Rancho La Bota is the name of it, the boot. And then out in front of the lodge, you know, they've got a big boot. It's a beautiful, beautiful lodge. The owner is a huge bow hunter. And after the first year down, he and I really hit it off, and he's invited me back every year. They manage everything from predators. You know, they bring cat dogs down. They do trapping. Their management as far as culling bucks and letting bucks reach certain age, doe management, just everything that they do is absolutely by the book, and it all reverts back to the owner. We get to the ranch, get unpacked, shoot the bows, and what's very customary there is we all meet in the bar area, and they send guys out with video cameras starting really in September, October to start videoing the senderos and seeing what bucks are in what area of the ranch, because the ranch is so big. You know, it's 30,000 acres, and it's hard to really get a grasp for that, of just how big that is. But there's over like 250 different stand setups on this place. And it's Disney World. It's a magical environment and so much fun. But we get into camp, get everything unpacked, meet in the bar area, and there's a big screen TV, and they start putting footage of different deer that they've filmed, you know, starting in early season. And man, we come across one, and it is a monster 8-point. I'm talking at least 22, 23 inches wide, a cage. Like when you think of big 8s, this deer checks all the boxes. Big neck, big body, incredible cage. You know, I'm guessing him somewhere between 22 and 24 inches wide, well over 25-inch beams. Just really an 8-point of a lifetime. I mean, this one right over my shoulder right here is a 160-inch 8. But this deer doesn't have the tine length and doesn't have the mass of this buck, but man, he's just wide and tall, and he just looks like the man. And so that's really the buck I want to focus on. And the owner jokingly to me said, "Wait a minute now, that's the buck of the ranch, and I may want to go after him." And of course, if he wanted to, he would. And we joked about that for a little while, and he kind of gave me his blessing and said I could hunt him. So we know where the buck is, and we've got 4.5 days to hunt him. We've got in a half day early, so we're going to get to hunt that afternoon and really spend the whole rest of the trip focused on this 8-point. So first afternoon, we get in the blind, and at the end of the sendero is a corral that they put feed out in, and the buck got in there. You could tell he was not only the man, but he was pretty skittish. He would not let another animal around any of the feed, and once he got finished, he got out of there and he was gone. Next morning, we get in there, and it's kind of an overcast, foggy, cool morning. And we actually, as soon as it starts breaking day, we get a glimpse of him in the back of the sendero, and he walks across and he's gone. And we see a couple other bucks here and there. They're kind of cruising through the sendero. The rut is just getting started, so there's a little bit of pushing going on. And I hear a snort wheeze out in a cactus flat, but we can't see a deer. But there was a small buck in front of us, and he kind of tucked tail and left. And out of the corner of one of the blind windows, I could see the buck making a move across the brush and coming out in the sendero. And sure enough, he comes out, and he just takes his sweet time, but he starts feeding toward us. And as he gets closer and as he gets closer, you know, it's like, man, this is going to happen. So Andrew and I, because of the side of the blind that he was coming to, we're going to have to switch places. So we had to do a little bit of gymnastics in there and switch places around, but we got everything situated, got drawn. The buck kind of looked up there at us, but man, I was dialed in right on him. It was about a 22-yard shot, slightly quartering to, put it right on the shoulder blade, and man, it was in the vital V. Broadhead zip right through him.
Perfecto.
That's the big 8.
Hit him perfect, and he spun out of there and took off, but you could see the blood, and you knew that he was running dead. So we were pretty excited about that. The fact that Andrew got it on video, and in Mexico, day 2. I mean, that's pretty crazy to get it done that quick on that type of deer. So very, very excited with it. The owner, we text the owner, and he had gotten some new tracking dogs, and he wanted to be sure to be able to put his new dogs on as many blood trails as he possibly could. So he brought his dogs in and smelled the arrow, smelled the blood trail, off they went. The buck had only gone about 100 yards, and they found him pretty much immediately, and the celebration began. We got in there, and you don't ever really know until you pick him up what you've got. And he was every bit as big as what we had hoped for and what we thought he was. Just a huge cage, an incredible 8-point, old Mexico, everything that we wanted. I can't say enough about going and experiencing different parts of the country. And really, there's almost like micro cultures in different areas. Washington State's got a population of deer on the eastern side, and that's kind of got its own culture. And then, you get into, say, Idaho, Montana, a different culture of whitetail. You get down into Illinois, Kansas, Ohio, Indiana, those type areas, Iowa, and that's its own kind of tradition of how guys hunt. South Carolina in the South, we still got dog hunting and stuff that goes on here in the lower part of the state here in South Carolina. And, Mexico and Texas, that brush country, they've got their own style of hunting and the way they do things. And it's all a lot of fun. And I would highly encourage guys, anybody that has not been down to the brush country, it's kind of a relief from that Midwest rut when it's windy and cold and the grind of every single day. And to go down to Mexico, go down to Texas in the brush country, and just experience that style of hunting and see how fun that really is. I mean, the mesquite fires at night, grilling the steaks, the brisket, the food is incredible, the camaraderie. It's just a heck of an experience, and man, they have got some slammer bucks down there. So great hunt in Mexico this year. We will definitely be back next year. And up next is Texas. So we wrap up the season in Texas, and that'll be part 2 here. Very excited to share that hunt as well. So, guys, stay tuned for that. We appreciate you following along and wish everybody the best of luck. Thanks, guys.